In February of 2013, hotel guests at a rundown Los Angeles building began complaining about low water pressure and a strange taste coming from the tap. Maintenance workers were sent to check the rooftop water tanks. What they found would shock the world. Inside one of the tanks was the naked, decomposing body of 21-year-old Elisa Lam, a Canadian college student who had been missing for weeks. How did she get there? Why was the tank locked? And what about the eerie elevator footage that went viral around the world? This is the bizarre and haunting story of Elisa Lam, a case that continues to puzzle millions to this day. Elisa Lam was a bright and creative young woman from Vancouver, Canada. She was a student at the University of British Columbia and loved writing, fashion, and blogging. She often shared her thoughts and struggles on a blog called Ether Fields, where she opened up about her mental health, including her battles with bipolar disorder and depression. In January of 2013, Elisa decided to take a solo trip along the west coast of the United States. Her plan was to visit several cities, with Los Angeles being one of her main stops. She arrived in LA on January 26 and checked into the infamous Cecil Hotel, a place known for its dark history. The Cecil Hotel was far from glamorous. Located near LA's Skid Row, the hotel had a long and disturbing reputation. It had once housed serial killers, suicides, overdoses, and unsolved murders. It had been the temporary home of Richard Ramirez, that Night Stalker, and later Austrian killer Jack Unterweger. Elisa, unaware of the hotel's history, was originally placed in a shared room, but due to her odd behavior, she was later moved to a private one. Over the next few days, she kept in touch with her family, until suddenly, she didn't. On January 31st, Elisa was supposed to check out of the Cecil and head to Santa Cruz, but she never did. Her family, who had been speaking with her daily, immediately grew worried and contacted the Los Angeles Police Department. Flyers went up around the city. Detectives searched the hotel, including the rooftop, with dogs.
But there was no trace of Elisa. That is, until 2 weeks later, when the LAPD released surveillance footage from one of the hotel's elevators.
The footage shocked viewers. In it, Elisa enters the elevator, looks panicked, and presses multiple buttons. The elevator door doesn't close. She steps in and out, hides in the corner, and seems to be talking to someone, or something, outside. The video went viral. People around the world began speculating. Was she being followed? Was she hallucinating? Was it a paranormal encounter, or something else? But what no one could explain, was how she ended up on the roof. On February 19, 2013, after weeks of searching, hotel staff made a horrifying discovery. Inside one of the 4 rooftop water tanks, floating face up and naked, was the body of Elisa Lam. The tank had a heavy metal lid and was only accessible via a locked door and an alarmed rooftop staircase. The questions only grew from there. How did she get to the roof without setting off alarms? How did she lift the heavy lid and climb inside alone? Why were her clothes found floating next to her? And most disturbing of all, was it an accident, suicide, or something more sinister? The autopsy revealed no signs of physical trauma or sexual assault. The cause of death was listed as accidental drowning, with her bipolar disorder listed as a significant factor. But many weren't convinced. Her toxicology report showed she had stopped taking some of her prescribed medications, which may have triggered a manic or psychotic episode. Some believed she was hallucinating and climbed into the tank herself. Others argued it would have been nearly impossible for her to access the tank alone. Even stranger, the hotel didn't find her body until guests started complaining about the water being discolored, having a strange taste, and low pressure. The Elisa Lam case became a magnet for conspiracy theories. Some believed she was murdered by someone who worked at the hotel, or perhaps a fellow guest. Others were convinced something paranormal had taken place, especially given the hotel's haunted reputation. Some went so far as to link Elisa's death to a tuberculosis outbreak happening near Skid Row at the time, noting that the test for TB was called Thallium Elisa. But for all the theories, there has never been solid evidence of foul play. The Elisa Lam case became one of the most talked about internet mysteries of the 2010s. Podcasts, documentaries, Reddit threads, and YouTube videos have all tried to piece together what happened. Netflix even released a full docuseries titled Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, which explored both the case and the hotel's eerie past. But despite the attention, one thing remains clear: we may never know exactly what happened that night.
Was Elisa Lam a victim of mental illness, a tragic accident, or something darker?
To this day, her story is a chilling reminder of how a mystery can live on long after the case is closed. One girl, one hotel, one viral video,
and 1,000 unanswered questions.